resonance structures. This is again a very important property associated with the covalent bond and with the covalently bonded molecular species. What exactly these resonance structures are? See, whenever all the properties of a compound or of a molecular species cannot be explained by just one Lewis dot structure, we need to draw more than one structures for that. Then that molecular species is said to have a phenomenon called resonance. And the different structures which we draw are called resonating structures. It is because such molecules show such a variable properties which cannot be explained by just one structure, Lewis dot structures. So we draw more than one in order to explain all their properties, and this phenomenon is called resonance. And the structures which are drawn are called resonating structures. Now let us see this with an example of ozone molecule. Now in ozone molecule, we are having what? 3 oxygen atoms. The central oxygen is having a double bond with one of the oxygen atom, and a dative single bond with the other oxygen atom. Now this central one is having 2 lone pairs, single bonded is having 3 lone pairs, and this double bonded is having 2 lone pairs. Now if this is the exact fixed structure, we must have this single oxygen bond of bond length 1.48 Armstrong's unit, and we can have this double bonded as 1.21 Armstrong's unit. But to a surprise, or let us see the other one, then a point comes into the mind that why only this oxygen is forming a single bond, dative bond with this oxygen? Why not with this one? So yes, we can have another possible structure for this type of a molecule, in which what we find is this central oxygen is forming a single dative bond with the left-handed oxygen atom, and what we find is, now this is having 3 lone pairs, double bonded is having 2 lone pairs, and this is having a single lone pair. So if again this is the fixed structure, this bond length will be exactly 1.48 Armstrong's unit, and this would have been 1.221 Armstrong's unit. But to our surprise, what we find is by the X-ray crystallography that both the bond lengths of the oxygen are same, are of equal length, and they are almost like this. They all are 1.28 Armstrong's unit long. Now this 1.28 suggests that these bond lengths are neither single bond length or of double bond length. So we call them partial double bonds. We call these bonds as not single bonds, not double bonds, partial double bonds, and the bond length is suggesting us that these bonds are what are to be written like this. Now these dotted lines indicates that these bonds are not either a single bonds complete, neither they are completely double bonds. They are in between two, because the bond length is in between these two, and we call these as partial double bond. And remember, the bond order in this case will change. How it will change? The bond order is the number of bonds formed by the central atom and the number of atoms sharing it. With how many bonds these are shared, or how many atoms these bonds are shared. See, the central oxygen is forming 3 bonds, which are shared between 2 oxygen atoms. So it will be how much? So the bond order will be 3 by 2, 1.5. That's why we call it partial double bond, 1.5. And the bond order in this case is fraction. So this is what is resonance phenomena is, and those structures which were drawn earlier are called resonance structures, and this structure which is actually representing the exact molecule which will be existing in the nature is called hybrid structure or resonance hybrid structure. So this is what is the resonance phenomenon is, or resonating structures is.